Okay, we're finally ready to do our video. So it's still not without its issues, although it's a bit better than the first ISO that I was testing it with. The reason why this is quite a delayed video is because I was testing it all week with an ISO that was on their download page, but then I thought I'd check one more time before I recorded, and they had released an updated ISO, so I didn't think it was fair to me to sort of review it, because I did encounter quite a few issues with the first one. So if you remember in the installation period, when we installed it, post-install when we tried to update it, just a lot of things were breaking. Fortunately, that's all been addressed in this update. So what we're going to do is just talk about the desktop, and then in the second half we're going to get into the gaming stuff. So first things first, what I have done is I've just changed the theme, and then I've left everything else as its defaults. As you know, I'm an Arc Dark kind of guy, and then we've got the Arc icons as well. So what we're going to do is just talk about sort of the package setup and what it comes with out of the box. So I've installed a couple of things, but I'll let you know in a moment. We'll get into the game section, as I say, in the second half. So it doesn't come with GIMP, it comes with Gwenview Oculus Scanlight, and this is quite a little bit annoying. So this isn't a native application, this is a snap package. So if you go, you can see there you've got all your sort of loop devices there, which are your snap programs. So if you go into the Regata OS store, which we will do just now. So also I installed Google Chrome, it comes with Firefox, KNet attach, Regata OS store and Steam comes out of the box. So if we pop open the store now, the store's great. I do have a little issue with it though, a minor grievance, which we'll talk about now. So as you can see, GIMP, this is what we installed with the software store. So if you try and install GIMP using Zipper, you will notice that it will break things, so it won't let you install it. Well, it will unless if you want to break it. So you've got either two solutions. You can either break GIMP, or you can just not install GIMP. So we just decided not to install GIMP, but then as I said, I saw it on the store here, so I thought, I wonder if the store knows how to sort it out. So there's no indicator of whether it's a snap package, a flatpak package, or a native application, at least that I can see. And I think that could probably be addressed, and it would be nice to have like a little sources there that telling you, you know, exactly what you are installing, because then you might decide not to install it or go ahead with it anyway. But that's kind of my only complaint about that. So as you can see, we've installed Google Chrome, and Google Chrome is a native app, but again, as far as I can see, there is no indicator telling you such. But other than that, I think that's my main sort of complaint with the store. Otherwise it's fine. So you've got your categories here, and then it'll, so, oh look, recently added as well, get the application. So these are all quite sort of featured apps, if you like. So if you go into your games, it will give you sort of top best free games, and then it sort of has recommended, telling you what you should install. Yeah, fairly straightforward store. As I said, the only thing I would like to see is an addition of like a little detail telling you exactly what package type you are installing, because we know it comes with Snap, but it also comes with Flatpak out of the box as well. As you can see, it's got the free desktop platform, default and open H264 branch 19.08. So it comes with Snap and Flatpak out of the box. It would just be nice to know in the store exactly what kind of program you're installing. That's my only minor grievance there. Other than that, that's fine. So let's go back into, that was internet. We've talked about that. So in multimedia, I've installed Kdenlive and OBS from Zipper, so that was all fine, nothing broke. VLC came out of the box, so I was a bit confused. When I went on the website, they had I'm pretty sure they had an image of Kdenlive and like the words content creation and stuff. So I was expecting to see a bit more in this multimedia section out of the box, but other than that, not to worry. Office is very bare. You've just got Ocular Document Viewer, no LibreOffice Suite installed out of the box. So if you wanted to install that, you could do that in the store or just using the Zipper command. And in the settings now, you've got your firewall settings, Qt4, system settings, Wacom tablet finder, Wine Tricks, and Yast. So if you've used Yast before, you'll know all about it. So it's the sort of the OpenSUSE, yet another software tool. I'm not too clued up on Yast, I don't use it too much. I quite like the hardware probing though, so it'll sort of probe all your hardware and give you quite a thorough breakdown of what hardware you've got inside your computer. So we'll let that do that, and we'll have a little look at what it gives us in a moment. So if we keep going, that was in settings. So in system now, as you can see, you've got Dolphin as your default file manager. Comes with Gparted disk manager, and in install remove software, I do believe that will open the Yast one. Comes with KFRB desktop sharing, and then it's got two terminals. So you've got console, and then you've got a root terminal that's just a super user terminal. So if you was to type your root password in, you'd be in root, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to close that. So here is our hardware information, and it really does give you quite a thorough breakdown of what's inside your computer. So that's quite handy to have. So let's close that. That's not sort of specific to Regata OS though. That is OpenSUSE thing. So in utilities now, as I say, you've got Arc Archive. It comes with GNOME disks as well. Spectacle, SUSE image writer. Yeah. To be honest, there's not too much really to say about the desktop. It's pretty much a standard KDE affair. It's got 4-way snapping out of the box, so let's just make sure that's all working and looking good. Let's open up Chrome. Just chuck that one down there, and then let's open up VLC. There we go. So the desktop's all set up using mostly the defaults, and to be honest, I haven't changed anything. I've left it as is. So you've got your panel at the bottom with an icon task list. And then you've got your indicators here. It was quite large when I first installed it. So if you go to unlock widgets, it was rather big. It was about, I'll show you how big it was roughly. It was about that big. And that's just a bit too big for me, so we made it a little bit smaller. But as far as how they've set up the desktop, it's pretty good, to be honest. The only thing I'm a bit annoyed about is the sort of broken packages in zipper. But that's why I'm going to assume they default to the snap package for sort of things like GIMP and stuff like that. So we're going to move on to the gaming now, and the gaming's been a bit of a mixed bag. So it was able to launch a few games. Playing them though, not so much. So we're going to get into it now. So if we open up the Regata OS store, it will load up in just a moment. Here we go. There we go. So it's a nice sort of layout again, and it gives you sort of a for you recommendations, and you can scroll through sort of popular games here, and then to the left here you'll see it's got available launchers for Battle.net, Epic Game Store, GOG Galaxy, Origin, Rockstar Launcher, which will have all sort of Rockstar games like GTA, LA Noire and things like that. And then you've got Uplay as well, so you can sort of, you know, get, is it Ubisoft? I'm pretty sure it is. You can sort of get Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and you'll be able to get more if you was to click that. So the ones we have installed is we've installed the Epic Game Store. I've uninstalled Fortnite though, because I had to get a bit of disk space in order to test out a game that someone mentioned in the community post, Witcher 3. So I went and bought Witcher 3 just for the purpose of this video, and I kind of wish I didn't now. I'll show you why in a moment. So here is the Epic Game Store. As you can see, my library is pretty empty now. As I said, we did install that, but we've uninstalled it. I've recorded a little video that I'll clip to this bit, and you can see what happened. Wasn't the best. So we're going to move on. And also I will show you the Witcher 3, what happened there. I've really done a trial and error thing. I've done everything, but it doesn't work on my system quite how you'd want it to. In fact, it crashes once you get past the sort of, you know, starting screen with the sort of intro to the game, if you like. And also I found if you was to try and skip that sort of cutscene, it would just crash entirely and it would break your wine install. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So if I was to try and play Witcher now, it will probably not launch at all, because the last one it did, it crashed, and then what that tends to do is it messes up with your wine setup a bit that you have for it. Oh no, look, it's launching. No, that's just launching the store here. So if we go into library now, you can see that I've purchased this. It's installed, but it won't load. At least I don't think it will. I'll show you how far I did manage to get it, and depending on your system it might vary, so I'm not going to be too annoyed about that. As you can see here, the program Witcher 3 has encountered a serious issue, so uninstalling it and reinstalling it will make it work again, but then it won't get to actual in-game. As I said, I'll chuck up some footage so you can see that. So that kind of leaves us in a bit of a bind, doesn't it? Because we wanted to sort of test these games out and sort of see how they'd run, but I haven't managed to get too far with it. So I'm not going to chalk that up to Regata OS's fault, especially the Epic Game Store one, because you will see why that one didn't work. Well, it did work for a moment, and then they kicked us out because of the anti-cheat thing. They just don't like Linux players, I don't think. So we'll show that in a moment. What we're going to do though is we're going to jump into Steam. Fortunately for Steam, I have all of my Steam library on an external SSD. So as you can see, if I was to just go MNT SSD, and I mount this on every distribution I use at boot in the FS tab, so it's always there, and all I have to do then is go into Steam settings and then manage a library there. So as you can see, my Steam library is there as well. So what we're going to do is just get a couple of benchmarks from some games that you've seen me benchmark on this channel before. So we're going to do Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor first. I have already done this off camera and I know sort of what it gets, but we'll do it together. So let's go to play. Wouldn't worry about that, it says that no matter what distribution you use and what's installed. There's a little FPS count. Oh, I need to disable hot corner. There's a little FPS counter at the top left, but we'll use the in-game FPS counter that goes at the top right. But you won't be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is move my face. And I'm gone. Right. So we're just going to go straight into options and we're going to go into benchmark here. And then we'll see what this gets, and then post video I might sort of mention in the pinned comments how it fared against the other distributions I've tested it with. So the ones I have tested it with is Salient and Clear Linux, and I've got videos of both of those tests on the channel. So let's just escape that, and then we're just going to do a straight benchmark run through. So we're starting at about 67ish FPS, and we're just going to let that go all the way through, and then we'll see what our average frame rate is, and we'll see what the lowest frame rate is as well. If you've seen this benchmark before, you'll know that towards the end it'll sort of bump up your average because your higher frame rate really shoots up. So we're getting towards the end now, and we're on 80ish. There we go, so it's getting a bit higher now. So I think our average is probably going to be around the 70-80 mark. We shall see. Right, let's have a look what we finished with. So we've got an average FPS as 84.05, a max of 149.94, and a minimum of 31. I think that's probably one of the most consistent scores I've got yet, actually. That's pretty good. So what we're going to do now is just quit that. And back I am. Right, we're going to do the Mortal Kombat one as well. So the Mortal Kombat one, it should just be a static 60 that you're aiming for, because I think it locks your frame rate at 60. So hopefully, oh, hold on, the game will launch. Yep, that's fine. Let's play. I agree. So that might take a second for that to do that. 17 seconds. I do believe I've got a controller plugged in as well, but we're just going to do the benchmark. So that's there. I'm just going to open up HTOP and see what the RAM is saying at the moment. So we're at about 3.3 gig now. CPU looking okay at the moment. The game hasn't launched yet, so let's play the game. Any moment now. Okay, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Let's try that again. Hold on, there it is, preparing to launch. Cancel. No. Right, let's try that again. Don't know why it doesn't want to launch Mortal Kombat. Okay, so it's not going to launch Mortal Kombat for some strange reason. So we can't quite test that one, unfortunately. Let's have a look at Saints Row. This one's a bit of a crazy game with some weird effects and that, so I'm not too sure how it's going to run on Linux, to be honest. Let's hope it launches though. There we go, we have launched. So we've got an FPS counter at the top left again there, as you can see. Right, let's just go to continue, and I'm just have a little run around the city and see how we do. I can't even remember the controls of this game, but we'll just have a little run around and see what sort of frame rates we're getting from this as well. Okay, so it's 40, 50 there. I'm just going to click enter. Right, so we've got, let it just sort of stop stuttering. There we go. So it's quite stuttery. So we're sort of getting quite a few dips there. So you're getting sort of 45, 30, so it's dipping quite a bit. But this is a very crazy sort of game with the effects and stuff. But I guess if you bumped it down a bit, you could probably get that to be quite a nice consistent one if you turn the effects down a bit, because the minute you go a bit crazy with it, oh no, that's not too bad now. We're at about 75. Yeah, I'd say you can probably get this to run at a sort of a playable level, to be honest with you, especially on the hardware that I'm using, which isn't the most overpowered. Right, we're going to get rid of that. So every sort of Steam thing's working fine. I'm a bit worried about why it hasn't managed to launch Mortal Kombat. That's the first time a distribution has thrown that error at me, but other than that, that's fine. Right, now what we're going to do is stop the video there, and then I'm just going to post edit a few things in that you can see. But for the most part, I really like this distribution. I think it's brilliant. I think the issues that I did encounter were mainly down towards the Epic Game Launcher and Good Old Games Galaxy Store. So that was the two issues that I found, and you'll see why in a moment. But before we get into that, I'll show you what sort of RAM we were getting at boot without anything running. So if we just jump into that, you can see that we was getting about 813 megabytes RAM at boot. And it does include quite a lot of packages, you know, behind the scenes to get your games up and running in as smooth as possible. So that's quite a low number considering. So let's get rid of that. And as I say, I'm going to sort of post edit some things in now, and you'll see the issues that I ran into. Okay, first up we have Fortnite on the Epic Game Store, and I've managed to get it to work with the capture card, so we don't have to get any sketchy camera footage. I don't play Fortnite, so I'm probably just going to embarrass myself and have a little run around quickly and see what sort of frame rates we're getting. Up the top left here, though, you can see we're using AMD Radv ACOE Polaris 10 LLVM 9.0.1, driver version 20.0.0, Vulkan 1.2.128 FPS. Doesn't really matter about that at the moment. GPU's is using about 20%. Right, let's go. Let's just click play. I've bumped it down to like medium. I think it's on medium. Can we check it before we get into a game? Yeah, I've got it onto medium, so we're going to leave it at medium and see how we go on medium. I'm lucky I've even got an account. I think I got it on the Switch ages ago, and I made an account on the Switch and just had a little play around, and then I just logged in with my Switch account, which made it a bit easy. Right, it's got an ETA of 15 seconds. Oh, there's no one playing this morning. Yeah, I think that's right. So we're getting about, we're staying locked on about 60 FPS at the moment, and the GPU's at 50-ish%. It's not too bad. Might be able to bump it up. No, we just got a little bit of a lag there. Right, I'm just going to jump out. Right, FPS is it's hovering around the 60 mark. I don't even know how to play this game. There we go. GPU's at about 39%. Okay, FPS is sort of getting a bit stuttery now. Hopefully once we landed it calmed down a bit. It's definitely having a bit of a stutter. Oh, what's just happened there? Got a loading screen for some reason. Is this normal? Oh dear. You were removed from the match. You can't be playing that. Oh, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Good old Epic Games have kind of ruined us here. So we failed to create a game instance. Check the game was run from the correct launcher. That kind of sucks, doesn't it? Okay, sorry about that one, guys. I can't actually check that out for you. Blame Epic Games. Let's get out of that. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to show you how far we managed to get with The Witcher 3 using GOG. So just before I show you how far we got, it was so much trial and error. At first I couldn't even get it to launch, and then when it did launch, the wine broke, so I uninstalled that, messed around with wine, then I got it to launch, and then I pressed space in a cutscene, and then that broke. Basically, this has been a very hard video to get out to you, so I apologise for the lack of structure. I'm putting clips from all over the place at the moment. So here we have a bit of footage I captured on my phone because it wouldn't even launch with more than one display on. Very strange. So we got this far. I do, as I said, as I've just said, do not press space if you're attempting to do this, because on this machine pressing space would crash the whole install again. So I just let it play out, and we did get all the way to the beginning screen, and I was like, sweet, it's going to work. But as you can see here, so the little birdie's moving. Oh, he's still moving. Oh, no, he's not moving. So we got crashed entirely here. And this is the furthest I've got. I'm not going to keep reattempting. This has been a rather long, drawn-out process, but that's where we are. So my final thoughts of this whole sort of distribution, I think it's really cool. I wouldn't hold any of that against it, especially the Epic Game Store stuff. That's just Epic being trash, to be honest with you, and not really letting Linux players play. As far as the Witcher 3 thing, I've spent £25 on that just for the purpose of this video, so hopefully that helps any of you out there, and maybe might make you think twice about doing that yourself. But again, don't let that deter you, because it might have just been an issue of my hardware setup and it just didn't like it for whatever reason. But I actually do think this is a good distribution, especially if you're a gamer, and I would recommend it. I still would probably put Salient OS ahead of it, just because I didn't really face as much issues with that at all. But for the most part, good distribution, and give it a go. You might get a bit further than I did. It's been a long drawn out process to get this video out, so thank you for bearing with me. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.